A man eater and fuckboy, promiscuous hoe. Oh my god.
I hear you.
Ciao.
So for myself, I got a Kailas Shiva's Abode Beyond Form. Today my two statues broke, and both were gifted to me actually. So I guess the energy has reached a high point, and my Krishna statue fell, and his halo, his flame behind him, broke off, as well as his nirvana. So his top of the head point and a bunch of his little flames around also kind of crushed. So now he's just a boy. And then my kitty cat, my white cat statue with green eyes that had a bunch of trinkets and omens around her and little notes to be that Lyran protector. And her head severed because her weakest point was her throat, because it got really narrow at that point in the statue. So funny thing is, I got this Shiva statue just the other day after a very traumatizing or re-traumatizing event. So then I started pulling out my own deck because I haven't shuffled cards in days. I've just been in this dissociative mode where I had such an out-of-body experience, and I needed to remind myself to breathe through many days, and it felt like I was never going to crack out. So I guess today I had my hands full of stuff, and I'm the type of person where, you know, I'm no two-trick bitch, so waking up from a really fucked up dream, I went downstairs because I have a bunk bed, a huge bunk bed. It's like my nest. I kind of bumped into my magnet board, the blackboard that was here on the side, and in front of it were the two statues. And my board is kind of like my vision board, and it has magnets that my friends brought when they took trips, and it just has a lot of important memorabilia, or like, you know, my friends' business stickers or whatever, like, and then my little vision notes. So everything was a huge omen already as I woke up, right? So I had to strip the whole blackboard, the magnet board down, and now I have to clean up this space because it has a lot of ash from my sage, yeah. So then I just went into this full mode of kind of this energy got me going, where I started putting things where I want them to be, and you know, picking up the little pieces that fell apart, which were representing the crown, the wings, and as well as the throat, right, with the kitty cat. I don't even want to show her to you because she looks so sad. But the kitty cat is still standing strong, right? I can put her back together, but the question is, do I want to put stuff back together, or should I just throw the whole thing away and let it, you know, serve its purpose? Because I do have a hot glue gun, but I know that with statues, when they are religious statues, like, you know, Buddhas or Krishnas or whatever it is, when a certain representation, like nirvana, right, the top of the head flame, the connection to source, when that breaks, it's a negative omen, right? So I guess this statue will have to be replaced with a new statue, and I need to find a solution for the kitty cat, because the kitty cat as much as she was given to me at the right time from somebody, a girl that was, you know, I was trying to help. And we kind of parted ways, but she thought that the cat was kind of haunted, so I took her in and transmuted her energy, and she became kind of like of the Lyran Council, Lemurian Lyran Council. So she is quite more important to me when it comes to my path, right? But what it represents in a channeling sense is that certain connections to masculines and feminines and friends, quote unquote, need to be severed, right? Because either lack of communication, either lack of purpose, or, you know, being nice people, right? Because the wings and nirvana, the crown, kind of represent that state where you're cool with it, right? A collective. So as I'm working on my anger management and a bunch of people pleasing, and well, I'm not so much a people pleaser, but I'm dealing with a lot of people pleasers. So a lot of energies go through me, right? In general. And even though I have glitter glue, I'm not sure if I'm gonna put any of these statues back together, because I talked to one of my best friends, Hannah, today, and she was like, anytime my statues broke or something breaks, I'm, you know, willing to let go of it as if it served its purpose. And that's kind of what instantly shifted my mind towards, yes, right, the Krishna statue does need to be discarded, because it is Krishna is nothing without his flames and his nirvana and his halo, right? His golden sun that is with him. So as certain people are living our lives, and as we are transmuting energies when it comes to these things, each of us suffers in their own way, right? It's whenever we come together or separate from people, whether it be friends, partners, business partners, colleagues, you know, school friends, whatever it is, there's always this underlying intention that we have always sensed when it comes to certain things in people and our surroundings, where, you know, following our intuition and discarding of certain energies is way more empowering for ourselves than it is to keep broken people and broken statues and situations around us, right? So I started pulling my own cards, and I'm sorry this video is as chaotic as my life was, but I just had to. This is what I want to do. So I was like, I took my deck, and it's still in the making, and it has a bunch of different decks mixed in it. Imagine like a game with DLCs, right? So it's a process, but I'll share some things with you if you relate to letting go of energy that has long been expanding towards being broken, and now it has finally popped to look at it, to process it, and to elevate from said energies, right? So collective, we are not here to live in fear, to worry about anything that is going on in our lives. And sometimes the energies are so potent that there has to come a breaking point, right? No matter how much expansion of your brain, your crown has been happening, because I just felt like my head inflating and it was up to here. So you know, we're releasing big-headed people and turning it into wisdom, where our brain is being quite expanded, but for a good reason, because we are meant to elevate above these energies. We're meant to kind of look at the things right in front of us. I need to close the windows 1 second. Okay, so, right, as we started, there wasn't much noise, and today is a holiday. It's a national holiday, and it's a holiday where we have kind of, what's the, I'm really bad at translating, but the occupators, it's like resistance against the occupator day. So, collective, as we are spiritually fighting this war and going through it in the 3D sense, there's a lot of things and energies that are happening around us where you might relate to the fact that you have been isolating even more, or being really careful and vigilant about your energy and about the people around you. And it has made you increasingly tired. So as these energies and these demons had to leave your life or are leaving, you know, let's say, I'm gonna say it like this, sometimes I go through things quite early on so I can help the people that are with me. And you might feel right now that your head is still in that expansion point where you are being constantly overwhelmed and constantly hyper vigilant about your surroundings, and it just hasn't worked, right? So yeah, my surroundings haven't worked for me. What I've realized was, even if I do share the deepest, darkest things to the surrounding people, they don't know how to react. Or they even react in a way where I feel like it would have been better if I just, processed it on my own. So then fears are added, right? And guilt is added towards processing traumas, right? You go through shit and you think you're kind of through it, but it kind of comes behind you like vodka, right? And you're like, now I have to reprocess everything. And we're going in depth, right? We're going towards the deepest, darkest abodes, because my light people, my light collective out there that's listening intently to these videos and trying to understand what I'm saying, this is the point where I tell you about the way human beings spiral, right? We have repetitive patterns across as little as atoms and, well, right, microscopic fragments towards big universes. There are sequences, 1333 on the timer. There are sequences, and so is our life. Our life is a spiral, right? As is the way the universe expands. So even though we might feel like we're just orbiting the sun, we're actually going through space at the same time, right? And it's also expanding. So the energies of expansion now in this era of information and collective consciousness and unity consciousness and oneness and just, understanding light from dark, demon from angel, and a lot of these things that people are trying to now understand or listen into, or, certain things that used to be conspiracy theories are now confirmed very well, and we might not feel so alien anymore, even though we are aliens, right? However, every light being, every person that is of the Christ consciousness, that is of, always going through life with your heart, trying to hurt as least as possible, while also going through shit on your own, right? And if you have been that type of person where you had to go through a lot of darkness in your life, it's for good reason, and let me explain it to you. So as we have these internal spirals and chakra systems, and everything feels like a vortex, and now that we kind of understand how frequency works, and we have a lot of measurable devices of the ethers and of certain energetic waves, and the more that we understand Tesla and different scientists that have also expanded their minds, we understand that we are creating or trying to enhance the light, right? But how do we enhance the light if we have so much darkness that needs to be transmuted? Well, I was going through a dark period. Some trauma got re-triggered. Might do a part 2 to the previous video that I posted before this one, but I'm not quite sure because, well, I just want to leave it in the past, honestly. However, the thing is that as Shiva entered my life as this brass little statue, he got his own altar, and I guess, the fight between the differences between and all of these things that we feel in between the light and dark is exactly also why Krishna had to break today, right? Confirmation, I just got a text message. So there's left knee activation going on, so you might be working very diligently on going after things that kind of put you in that nurturing and receiving energy, where you kind of soften up, but you're doing the necessary steps that aren't coming from your ego. So you might also be releasing a lot of egotistical people in this point in time. Could be very significant. So yeah, whatever. I took some of my cards, and on the bottom of the deck I got Rudra, which is one of Shiva's form, and he is the storm healer who destroys only to renew and protect what is sacred. Funnily enough, I put on the throne of Shiva behind me the Peter's seat, right? The storm stone I got for my birthday. So that's already kind of connecting for me, right? But it's for you as well. So this is a demon slayer energy that works with you as the chosen one. It brings intense clearing of ancestral and collective trauma you feel in your body. It brings roaring transformation after deep release and crying. Me, in the past few days, you can see my eyes are like super puffy and tired and healing. So the mission here is to tear down false structures so pure light and new beginnings can emerge. I almost say beginnings, you know that meme. And then the cards that fell out were Kailasa, which is Shiva's abode beyond form. And this is what I'm going to read is a bit more, let's say, next level spiritual knowledge that a part of you might not be quite well versed in, but I believe that everybody can, find things that work for them, and this is how I found to kind of understand it from that scientific and metaphysical perspective to understand. And right here I have that very depicted, but I will try, I won't move the camera, but it's pretty much how the chakra system is. base to crown or crown to base. And it's 7 chakras with the heart in the middle, and then I just added stones kind of in line and put them in the color that I feel they belong in sequence in, depending on the research that I have done so far. So, Kailasa is an abode, a plane of consciousness, right? It's something where you could kind of meditate yourself into, but it is placed on your energetic body, kind of like a chakra, right? So if we would have placed this chakra somewhere, it would have been when you were created, right? So it's this creator black energy, this womb before light. So when we traverse these spirals in life and we go through different motions of good and bad, clearing karma, doing things even better to not have to reincarnate and clear the karma, because we haven't done that, right? So as the party kind of stops and we go into that dark space of dissolution, this is kind of the plane of existence where we are at, right? So you could connect or research Kailasa on your own. It's just in the Hindu religion, faith, kind of like, you know, a dream of the gods, right? So you can imagine it, but you cannot visit it. So it's like an energetic temple in a sense, right? But imagine it in different planes of existence, as if you would have, you know, we are now in 3D, but with other factors included, we kind of can go above in these consciousness planes, where it's kind of like different types of paradises or different types of lower paradises, where it's kind of not like hell, but it's we have to go down the spiral into our deepest, darkest roots of these fears and emotions and, you know, negativities to kind of clean it up and ascend back up the spiral. So as we enter each curve of the spiral, we are, you know, traversing through the planes of existence, of consciousness, and that helps us go into these surrender modes, right? So, for instance, something happens where you do not have any effect on, like somebody passes away and a relationship ends, they fire you, you know, and you go into this why me processing or this self-doubt processing, right? And if you don't process it, it's kind of, it stays with you as an attachment, let's say, and it goes along with you. So the next time you search for a job or a relationship, you kind of have that doubt within yourself, like, you know, then we start making ourselves pretty or express ourselves through ego because we haven't dissolved those parts that aren't ours, which is fear, self-doubt, and so on and so forth. So the task of Kailasa is actually to unbecome, to remember that which remains, right? So who are you after this ends is the energy here, right? What happens? Who are you in the meaning of, if you have been overgiving in a relationship and have ended that, if you have, you know, you're in between jobs and you're rethinking like where to go next, this is where Kailasa comes in frequently to show you that what needs to happen is for you to remember who you have always been through that experience, right? So how you handled certain situations where a lot of people would have given up. It's very important. That builds character. That doesn't, if a person or a job or a situation or whatever happened never affected who you are, and you kept going, then you have traveled Kailasa well, because you haven't given into the darkness. You went into your darkness and you were like, okay, this is where I went wrong. This is where I could have done better. And this is where I just didn't have information to help me with, right? So I couldn't do, for instance, in that relationship or in that job, you couldn't be yourself, right? And be your full self, truly be joyful and live your life the way you want to. Or if it was a job, you couldn't, you had to watch your character, right? So you almost had like a different character for that environment, and it wasn't you. So even though you had a different character, you never forgot who you are, or you never not unexpressed yourself in the safer environments that you were then in, right? So for instance, you didn't share your full self with your last partner, but you did share yourself in your fullness with all your friends, and they are still here after you and that partner went separate ways. Or you came home from work and you turned into this loving person, whereas at work you had to be a complete marshal, right? Or somebody that is just not as soft or something like that. So the shadow of this abode, this is the 10th plane of consciousness, which is let's say your base chakra is 1, your crown chakra is 7. This is 10, right? This is quite above our general understanding. So it's you going so above yourself and so above your own light that you lose all self-image to a certain degree, right? Or you could have went through this self-image loss in the previous cycle or environment. And you could have been clinging to a certain purpose here, right? You could have been overstaying for reasons of help or betterment or whatever have you, because you were afraid to be without. You were afraid to be without a job, without that relationship, without certain stabilities, or you were just so enchanted because your whole self was taken away from you in the process of doing this job. It just feels like a job, really, even if it was a relationship, right? It just felt like you were clinging to the wrong purpose when you were in that environment, and you were afraid to be alone, or you were afraid of shifting, of being without, like, this whole situation that you were in was your main personality, and it kind of went behind you. It crept up on you. So the affirmation that you can repeat to yourself is this: I am the absence of all that is false. I am what remains. I am the absence of all that is false. I am what remains. So you could be calling on deities like Shiva, Mahashiva, Rudra Shiva, Bhairava or Kali. And the tasks here are to surrender all of your roles, all of your names, all of your attachments, and to dissolve into the origin silence, which I know, collective, it's one of the hardest things to do. But you surrendering to source is this exact energy. You are going back to your mission. You're going back on your path in this way because you are only remembering your essence here. The shadow of the shadow aspect of this plane of existence and consciousness is that you might be clinging to form, which means clinging to whatever is in front of you in the 3D material way, right? For instance, that job or relationship or what have you had perks, and you need to surrender these forms of perks that you used to have. For instance, I'm hearing maybe somebody would have do some mechanic work on your car or help you garden or help you do different types of things, but their presence and their consciousness wasn't on the same level, so you went through suffering even though you had help or certain, you know, things you could put on your pros list versus your con list. And when we're clinging to form, we're clinging also to this vessel that we are definitely going to leave, right? So everything is in a cycle, everything is in a spiral, but as a soul, you have a mission here to fulfill. Otherwise, you will keep coming back to fulfill those missions. And what you're learning now is that clinging to this form is not helping you as much as understanding all of your prior forms up to this one through all different, I'm seeing just a grid, you know, of dimension, like up, down, just different parallel universes of you are all coming back to you, because as you dissolve your roles, your identities, your sense of whole self, or you feel like your whole self has been dissolved and now you have to reclaim your essence, you might be going through this fear of being nothing, having nothing, rebuilding, restarting. But fear not, my collective, because being the light is being able to go through shadowscapes, and you are perfect for this job, right? You're perfect to surrender all of these attachments because your soul has been kind of waiting to do so. It has been waiting to rest. It has been waiting to let go of certain depictions and omens and items that have bound you. I'm seeing a lot of decluttering and you know, putting things where they kind of belong and letting go of being attached to whatever is material in front of you, which is pretty much what Krishna represents, right? So another affirmation that you can do is, I let all things die in me that the true soul may rise. So, or the true essence may rise, or the true flame may rise. So I let all things die in me that the true soul, the true essence may rise. And that's super important, right? So fear not, because you have Kali, you have Bhairava, you have Shiva in his Maha and Rudra form protecting you. You have storm dragons protecting you. You have pretty much a bunch of weather deities clearing up paths and kind of focusing storms on different cities that aren't yours. And you could be a water or a airbender, so you could be getting into you could be unlocking certain skills as you traverse these planes of existence. So it's important to, you know, dissolute these attachments, these karmic cords, these 34 was on the timer. There's a lot of releasing you need to do because you are stripping yourself of all these microchips that have been placed upon you with material forms as well. Like, your sentimentality has now become a different force. And the more you tune into your essence, the more you tune into your soul and your needs, and taking the rest when it's needed, processing your hormones or elevations of adrenaline or dopamine or endorphins in such a different way. It's like looking at everything will give you this inflated sense of head where it's just a lot of information that you're now processing because the floodgates have opened, right? The floodgates to the new life have opened, to the new wave, to the new balance, I'm hearing as well. So we have got a mantra armor that I will just whisper within myself, but you can consent to receiving the armor, which is just going to be me protecting the whole collective of you light beings, you people with good intentions, and you that are looking to all of these minutes to find reasons and reasonings and understand the energies that are around you. This one is for you. So I will just whisper it into my palms, and you can just close your eyes just for a little second. You are now protected, my collective. This builds a powerful flame shield around you, and let all the evil dissolve. This will help you in your path to, you're going to feel like energetic floodgates opening. I'm feeling my arm and my heart, like it might feel like your energy is leaking, but it's this energy that feels so comfortable going away from you, but it feels like relief, pretty much. That's going to be that armor being activated. So you can imagine the darkest black that is surrounding you, kind of in the form of a flame, right? So that will kind of cleanse your whole space, and you might feel just a little bit of what might feel to you like an energetic leak, but it's actually this energy releasing from your body. So what this whisper meant in translation is, let all beings disturbing me on earth or below it retreat. That's why, and let all evil dissolve. That's why you might have, felt, or you might be feeling these pulls out of your certain parts of your body, your energetic body. Okay, now we are entering the fourth plane, which is the heart plane. Interesting, because I did feel the feminine arm releasing and the heart releasing. We're entering Maharloka. This is the plane of sages and devotion. 38 on the timer. So you can imagine yourself healing in an emerald or an emerald lattice or a structure that is protecting you. You can imagine geometric, circular shapes, bubble shapes, but do it in the emerald coloring when you visualize it. That will bring you back towards your purity of devotion, you being in service of truth, you speaking up, you doing the things that are true to you, and you're bringing back that soul-centered love. You're healing, right? We had this black energy coming in, which fear not black. It depends. We have different types of black, but the blackest black is, imagine source, right? Before you even see light, it's like this womb where before you are born, and this is your you know, kicking and waiting to come out on the other side of the dark tunnel, right? But you don't understand that you are in this incubation period, you're in this womb, because the source black energy and the green and emerald sapphire energy, when it comes in, it's this unconditional love towards truth. So the heart centrum and the upper throat. And also we had depictions of certain crowns being dismantled and certain wings being cut from the regulars or the pretenders or destiny swappers, and you're gonna feel this. And then I protected you in this beautiful, strong, really, really strong armor of the source black flame. And now we are entering, now we can enter our souls, right? Because now we are safe. And I love how the cards always come out in important sequences. So I'm hearing like that the things that happen to you or around you were perfect, even in their imperfection, because as you realize you are light and as you realize you have power, you're able to remove yourself from situations. You're able to come back into your heart because you never left it. You're able to be protected because you always believed in your protection. Whichever religion or faith you were brought up in, you are rediscovering the ways of, I need higher levels of protection, right? So welcome home. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I should start saying that at the beginning because I feel like nobody's liking my videos. But let's focus on the negative or bad. It's kind of like we've mentioned the good, which is your purity of devotion, your service of truth, and the soul-centered love. That's what we should be feeling every day, right, collective? I've just seen like an orb. So the angels are around us, they're supporting us. Never forget that. What could be a negative indicator that you are off, kind of not in your heart space, or a little, your chakra is a little bit off, or not in that emerald coloring? You might be experiencing these quote unquote bad things that I will now list, which is spiritual martyrdom. For those that don't understand, martyrdom is you doing, for instance, spells or incantations or tinctures or moon magic or sun magic or whatever type of magic that you might be doing is from that martyrdom, which is, you know, not per se vengeance, but, you know, having the people their pies served. And why is bad? Why is it bad? Because you are putting your energy into sending negative energy, whereas if you focus on just letting go of the energy that's not yours and it's returning it to sender, you do not have that negative intention behind it where it's hurting people, right? So please guys, never curse people, never do magic on them. I never do magic on people. I always do magic only for self-protection and to let go of what's not mine. So when I'm feeling something negative, I try to like take it off my skin and flickering it out. I don't know much about Reiki because I've never studied it, but I do know that I have powers and that I need to protect them, right? And you collective are the same, and your mission is always to stay in the center that matters the most, which is the heart. The heart is the middle of every center that connects you to even higher and even lower consciousnesses. So what's happening in and around us is actually most people are traversing the lower locus, or the lower planes of existence, where they do live in fear, they do live in addiction, they do live in that. And I'm not saying I'm perfect and I do not have problems with certain addictive behaviors and ways of processing things. It's understanding that that is kind of a connection that is keeping me away from something that is much better for me, right? But usually environments, people, situations that aren't for our highest good trigger these things where we let go into either smoking or vaping, or doing something in excess, even if it's exercising, or eating too healthy, like, or eating, not being really careful of your vitamins and minerals and your internal needs, right? So spiritual martyrdom is you putting too much energy into making things right, right? Even if you do magic or write things down or speak, that's magic. You are now realizing that you have to go to the quiet womb space before you've spoken a single sound, right? Before you came out the womb of your mother. When you came out the womb of your mother and cried your first cry, that was the moment where you, that's the place where you need to return in this moment collective, because zip it up and don't release your, don't lose your energy, right? It's spiritual martyrdom just helps you with losing your energy even more. So don't focus on other people, focus on yourself, focus on what heals your heart, what you're devoted to, what is your truth, and how can you rebuild your heart space from that soul-centered love, right? Which is the way that God loves you, the way that your animals love you. That's the way that you need to love yourself. And when you're dealing with people, a lot of attachments and ego and a bunch of bullshit comes with them, right? These motherfuckers just have another thing coming. So as you let God, as you surrender to your own source, to your own essence, you give it to God, right? You just do this, like, here, take it from my shoulders. This is not mine to carry, right? I'm not here to carry your bullshit, or even that bullshit of your hater behind you collective, because I used to be a spiritual martyr in my own sense, but never in hurting people through energetic attacks. If I wasn't attacked physically, spiritually, mentally, intellectually, emotionally, right? I had to be, it's kind of like loyal to a fault, right? So if I feel, and I feel a lot, right? So if I feel that somebody is affecting my energy, and I can hear your whole conversation about me, well, guess what? Well, guess who tripped you? Well, guess who just switched your traffic light to red, right? It wasn't me. I didn't do it. Like, I didn't come and just switch the light, right? God did it for me. And yeah, when you let go and let God, and you protect yourself, you protect your heart, your essence, and you understand that you never shifted your reality of who you are for anybody ever. You just accumulated. You started being strategic. You started protecting yourself, or, you could have been lighting your own candles and doing what felt right for you for your own protection. Like that's good, collective, right? But we're not here to be spiritual martyrs, because that's not how we please the source. Because everything will return to source, right? We will all die. As spoiler alert. And I think that, wanting to be young and beautiful forever is exactly, and rich and all of these 3D things is exactly what we're trying to avoid here. Exactly the type of people we're trying to get rid of, right? So the more you understand you as a 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old, 10, 12, 14-year-old, the more you traverse back to each timeline and revisit certain memories, the more you process yourself in that womb, right? Imagine this. I'm laying on my couch. I'm just having a bad day, like unmovable, barely remembering to breathe, right? And I'm having dark thoughts. So what can I do? Okay, I have this watch that tells me how stressed I am and tells me my pulse, because I'm unaware of my levels of anxiety sometimes. And right now I have 56 stress. And 2-3 days ago I had like constant daily stress of 50 out of 100 points. And that's, not normal. So I took the time to just lay here. I just heard Coldplay. I just laid here and the moon kind of showed herself, and time went by so fast. And one day it went nowhere. One day I was infested with fear, and the other I was trying everything to, breathe into my stomach and hold it and feel myself in different centers and remember all of these little practices that I used to do. And I took my sages and I did more gardening and I tended to my plants and I drank, I hydrated, right? So I took care of the basic needs for these few days, but I was also on my few first days of period, which for my guys out there, it's like, just leave me the fuck alone and don't come into my face. And I hope I have all my sweets and salties and hot beverages next to me, so I don't have to see a single person, because I'm legit Jesus Christ in the cave for the first 3 days, right, my women? And add on to that an acute stress reaction that I didn't even feel comfortable leaving my apartment to go to the doctor to kind of have me looked, right? So I was back into this, oh my God, I'm processing everything on my own, right? And it's this dark space. But we mustn't fear the rest. We mustn't fear the letting go of attachments. And we mustn't fear coming back into our heart space, because that's exactly what's happening. And it's really hard to breathe into your upper lung when you feel anxiety, but it's really important when you feel anxiety to do this, right? And reconnect with your own self-circuit with different mudras and different points of breathing and understanding frequency and listening to some subliminals or binaural beats or theta sound waves and or little bells. Where the fuck is my bell, right? It's way over there next to my newly planted tangerine. That, yeah, whatever. So, it's really hard to rediscover yourself after very traumatizing events, and especially when you took on a role so important to you to fulfill, but it wasn't you. And the next bad thing that might happen here with going through Maharloka, the plane of sages and devotion, or your heart space, is people pleasing, right? And we collective, we are people pleasers. Let's be honest. We're people pleasers, and we're healing from that. And the more we realize that we are not here to people please, the more we are having that as a daily affirmation, you know. For instance, after every time you brush your teeth, you look yourself in the mirror, right? You're just like, you did your morning stuff, you did your morning routine, as small or as vivid as it is, and you look at yourself in the mirror, you smile and say to yourself, I'm done with people pleasing, and this is my new reality. And just feel how that becomes, it is as if it takes from all 12 directions, all corners of every dimension, and just comes into you. That's how it's going to feel with every time you say something in the mirror. You bring it to this moment. So be very careful what you think in front of the mirror, especially what you say in front of the mirror. Yeah, right. But your thoughts are your unspoken words, and they are circling in your energetic body, and they must be released at once. That's why we got the let all beings disturbing me on earth or below it retreat. Let all evil dissolve. And you can say that 21 up to at least 3 times, but 21 to 108 times is a good way to say it, right? So you can go back, pause the video, write down all these mantras, and get some beads, or you know, count on your fingers, or just, you know, do it with very mindfully and very consciously, right? The way you talk to yourself, we're bringing it back to the source, which means we're bringing it back to the unity consciousness before you have incarnated, before you have signed all of your contracts for your path. We are in the zero. We're in the before the Big Bang, right? That's the energy, that's the expansion, that's how big your expansion is going to be after this final dissolution of people pleasing, of spiritual martyrdom, and emotional repression. That's the third bad thing we're trying to avoid here is, yeah, emotional repression. So it's important to come back into your heart by feeling these things to be able to release them, right? So if you have been going through life with hard emotions like fear and anxiety, depression, whatever you name it, right? Imagine them as little demons or little gnomes, or just give them some sort of form, right? And you can give it a name. I don't know why I'm getting this. I never gave this advice to anybody, not even myself. But I'll try to use it, and I'll tell you later how it worked. Give it a name. Yeah, make it a little demon, right? So this is my fear. It's this small, and it has a name, right? And I will not let this little demon have me repress any of my emotions, right? That's why I come on here, I cry, I cuss, I haven't yelled, which is one of my least favorite things to do. I hate yelling, and I hate people that yell. I always did, and I always will. I will never react to somebody that yells into my face in a way that they want me to react. So even though in those points in time you might feel like you're repressing certain emotions, or there's energy buildup, right? When people yell in your face or make you feel something that you're not, like you're not the actually an insecure person. You're actually haven't come into this world fearing it, right? But this world has given you reasons to repress certain emotions, and that's bad. That's bad when you go through Mahaloka and you cannot feel love, you cannot express, receive, and give love, and it hurts. You cannot hug people normally, you don't let people close, you don't trust them, and that's what I've been going through, right? It's been really hard because I'm a very touchy-feely, huggy person, but a lot of traumas have brought me to a point where I don't hug people for energetic reasons, because I understand that I'm a sponge, so I like people at least this far away. And when they come closer, my body just starts, I don't like to feel energetically restrained. And all of these little demons that we had, and we're still releasing some of them, are just that. They're little gnomes. They come into your life and they just annoy the fuck out of you. And you might be laying there just like, why can't I breathe? Why can't I go out for a walk? Like, why can't I exercise? Why can't I do these things? Because these are the attachments that we are releasing. And because we are these full-hearted vessels, right? We're full vessels, full of light, full of love. And as we notice that we are always able to share love when there is an innocence in front of us, right? But we have become so versed in pointing out negative intentions of other people, or their secret agendas, or even channeling what they're thinking or what they went through, or seeing it on their face, right? It's really taking back your power in the greatest sense, which is the darkest black and the emerald green. It's one of my favorite combinations. It's this, it gives me like this presence of the way your enemies will fear God. And I I don't want to laugh at no enemies here, right? It's just a natural release of joy for you, collective. So the task here for us is to open the heart without sacrificing self. And I think that's so beautiful, because as we people please, as we do spiritual martyrdom, and as we repress our emotions, meaning we don't express them, we sacrifice ourselves, our essence. And we're not here to do that. We're just, no. Your affirmation here, collective, is I love as truth, I serve as soul. And the activities you can do to come back into your heart space are these. You can do breath work with hands on your heart, so you can breathe in, like, with different hand placements, where you could like put one on your heart, where if you put your right hand on your heart, you're going to give to your heart. If you put your left hand on your heart, you're going to receive a bit differently, right? So I usually like to put my left hand on my heart. It just feels more natural. And then the right hand wherever it feels best for me. I usually put it on my solar plexus, because my confidence is something that usually gets attacked first. Yeah. So, wherever you have been hurt could also be the place where you put your other arm, or you can put both of them on your heart and just support the other hand, right? And you can do different types of breath work. You can breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, in through your mouth, out through your nose. You can do, different sequences. You can count, for instance, breathing in to 4, holding 4, releasing 5 to 6, trying to make the exhale longer than the inhale, just structuring yourself in what feels most comfortable for you. But breath work with hands on heart kind of looks like this, right? Because I feel a lot of anxiety and a lot of your energy collective going through me, it's a very limited space to breathe in. But if I would have continued in the breath work into my heart center, lower, upper, into my throat, into my stomach, I would reactivate relieving these little gnomes that are just sitting on my chest and my shoulders. And with every breath, you release. With your hands on your heart, you reconnect with your own electric current, right? So holding it helps you feel that this space expanding, or you just feel your breath, right? So don't just go instantly into exhale. Try holding it for a while, and it will release tension. You might feel lightheaded as you do these breath works, so it's best to sit in a comfortable position, meditative position. You can also put, one, however, you can put one on the back of your heart as well to seal the heart space front and back. Thank you, Spirit. Next activity, we have forgiveness or inner child ritual. So you can do your own ritual. You can use different information options to research an option that is good for you. So wherever you have been hurt as a child, wherever you haven't feel either protected, or whatever there is left to forgive, your younger self will always heal your inner child. So in this season, we are working on releasing these heavy burdens. And you can do the breath work with hands on heart. And with every hold, like you can imagine with breathing in, that the emerald light is entering your heart space through your crown, through your base, through your heart, through any place through where you got hurt. You, on inhale, imagine emerald, the most emerald green you can imagine, as light entering your body, entering your heart space. And as you hold, you think about something that you want to forgive yourself. Like, I forgive myself for feeling guilty. And you hold that, right? Light enters, I hold. I'm thinking about I'm releasing guilt. Now I imagine the guilt being released. I can imagine it, you can imagine it as smoke clearing, right? So green light enters, black or gray or brown smoke exits, right? So that's how a transmutation process is happening when you're doing breath work. You need to imagine healing colors, healing lattices, healing geometrics that enter your field as a protective and warm and, source energy with vibrant jewel tone colors. Or if it's for solar plexus, you're breathing into your solar plexus. Don't imagine yellow, imagine gold, right? Imagine the gold is gold and add some sparkle to that, right? That's the light that you visualize entering your differently colored centers. You could do it while listening to heart chakra frequency music. That will also help you clear your aura, your energetic field, your room. It kind of vibrates out into the ether, right? So those things really help when they are actually tuned into the 432 megahertz for heart and so on, right? So you could be thinking about each negative emotion that you are releasing from each chakra. You could do a whole realignment with breath work, and that's also how you kind of come back into your body space, feeling your body. And I'm being pointed back to my 3 days grace, my Christ consciousness elevation process, my dark night of the soul, my coming back to source and realigning with my own energy process I went through while bleeding profusely and having heavy cramps. I wanted to say something really important. You know, interferences always come when they are least needed. But we were talking about chakras and healing light and forgiving, releasing all of these negative emotions, clearing your energetic space. Okay, let's do it. Sorry guys, this is chaotic today. I'm just prancing around my room at this point, but this sound is very muted. I feel a crown attack. God bless the one that is trying this, man. And so it is. Yeah. Did you hear the pop? That was my left hip popping. So there is a feminine action being activated in the season. Even if you're a male watching this, there is your feminine side is being activated. I will just cleanse our space because we got an enormous interference. As I was giving you advice how to heal your heart, so if you have gone through a really bad relationship, collective, you're still clearing those things. And these things weigh really heavy on your heart. Fear not, because you're doing everything in your power to leave these timelines behind and doing what's best for you. And because we're going through a session of self-empowerment, of course, the demons are going to try us. We have just made them into little tiny elves, right? Not to be cruel towards elves. I love my elves. I'm an elf myself. In different games. I always choose the elf. I don't know why. But, okay. So yeah, because we are transmuting blocked compassion, there have been people around us that have been trying to block our abilities. I'm seeing one of my best friends all the time, and my besties are always highly intuitive witches with prophetic dreams and whatnot, like just besties, you know. And I keep seeing her, and I feel like her crown is being attacked. So yeah, rose quartz, emerald, or green tourmaline could be very helpful. Even if you print it or you put it on your screensaver or whatever, on your phone wallpaper, it's just as good. Because we are transmuting guilt, and these demons of guilt are, oof, the heaviest, guys. They are the guilt that you feel from your family, from your friends, from your chills, full body chills, man. Your wings are being activated, your crown is being, it has been exploding for a while now, collective, but this is just a whole nother level of interference. I need to cleanse myself because I feel a lot of different timelines of people tuning into my videos. So if you're not, whoever's watching this right now, this might not be your energy. Even if you're watching this 3 months or a year from now, this might not be your energy. It's just the people around you have this a way of blocking your intuition that follows you as an attachment. If you're a workaholic, it follows you through your work environment. If you are a people... The fuck just happened? If you're a people pleaser, if you're a people pleaser and you've been through long or many relationships for a long time, this is the guilt cycle. The guilt little keeps getting smaller, right? These are the demons that are exiting, and they're fighting with all they have. I hope you feel a lot calmer right now. I hope you feel the energy leaving your space. And I hope your compassion is being unblocked as we speak. I'm getting quite lightheaded and quite uplifted, actually. But yes, we have now transmuted and released quite a lot, collective. And in these next 24 to 74 hours, you might still feel burdens releasing, rocks falling, energy exiting, but it's the dense energy that was within you. It's returning to your source. And your source, collective, is the source that all demons fear. So, happy activations, happy new life, happy new and safe travels, happy moving seasons. Even if you're not physically moving, you're moving energetically, and that's beautiful. Because the things you can do from a single square meter, collective, is something some people cannot do by visiting all temples of this earth. Because the temples within is the one that needs the most focus, the one that is of the most importance. And we are now focusing on our light vessels, our heart spaces, and the compassion we have never lost, and the source that we are coming from, which is love, and it is light. It is not darkness, but because we are light children, we are able to go through many darknesses and come out with our powers doubled, tripled, quadrupled, and exponentially heightened towards the source. So yeah, this is it. It's just 3 cards and a little backstory, but it's an hour and 20. So if you made it this far, drop some flame emojis. Then I'll know you made it all the way to the end. I love you so much, collective. Have a good initiation process. I love you so much.